Hello, and welcome to the Irish Gaze podcast. Evening, fellas.
Evening, Dave. How's it going?
Gary, you're back.
Yes, I am back.
Yeah, we're slowly.
Vesty's elbow deep inside a sheep. So.
He's currently Vesty's a part-time farmer, so tonight he's currently birthing 3 lambs, triplets.
Triplets, you were saying, yep.
He's probably elbow deep in fucking lamb shit. So last minute we drafted Gary in to help us out again with our
The ringer. I'm the
nerd
ringer.
culture stuff. So Vesty,
Guy has now become the honorary 5th man of the Irish Gaze podcast.
Vesty, we're getting ready. I want you to know that.
Well,
Gary watches football too, so you're useless in it too. Now all we need to do is find another NFL guy, and we're in. Get him out of here.
Play whenever he's available, probably. You know?
Yep, that'll do us. So tonight we're going to be recording our nerd culture topic. Tom has taken the lead on this one. It's been requested by a few different people, so this is sort of like a fan request type one, but also probably one that we thought like we'll end up doing ourselves.
It is our childhood, today we're going to be discussing Pokemon. Tom's brought up a few different talking points and things he wants to go through, and to be fair, Pokemon, we grew up and we were prime time Pokemon.
What was it, like 1990?
We were the perfect age.
We were the perfect age, that was our childhood and teenage years was Pokemon.
Pokemania just hit.
It's like nothing I really ever remember.
And it's still going strong, like even all the time. Like it's mental how
a new movie come out on Netflix. Like I haven't watched it. I think it's just a remake of the original movie.
Yeah,
animation looks a bit dodgy.
But it just took over. Like it was the sort of first one. Like obviously there was like Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff like that there that obviously came afterwards.
Spun off after it, a bit of Digimon and maybe Beyblade. And
even Dragon Ball was around at the same time.
Dragon Ball's way older. It's like 80s.
Yeah, but even at that, like I mean, for a show that was that big, Liverpool. That's where my head's at. It's fucking Champions League Wednesday. Liverpool are playing in Irish time, so that's where my head's at.
Don't worry, you're gonna get there.
But Pokemon just it took over. Like it completely blew up.
Yeah. It was an absolute cultural phenomenon.
Yeah, definitely.
It went absolutely nuts, and we were all probably pestering our mothers and fathers to buy us cards every 5 minutes.
Yeah. Pokemon cards.
The amount of money probably spent over the course of our childhoods.
I hated it. I used to have a deck of Pokemon cards. It was huge. I mean, like the amount of money some of them are going for now, I must have hit every card and every type that you could go for. And I gave every single one of them to my little cousin. Now they're probably worth thousands.
I kept mine,
Funny that you bring that up, Dave. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead, man.
We're going to get to that later. I actually have a very interesting story to tell you all about that sort of thing. But carry on, Dave.
Well, I was just going to say, lad, like you took the lead in this. We're kind of probably going to do that a wee bit. Like I've done some of the combat sports type of things, and this has kind of been your one. So if you want to lead us off, big man.
What's your first question, Tom?
Well, we'll not get there just yet. This is for mostly just anybody out there that doesn't somehow know what Pokemon is.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to give a little bit of background. So it's also known as Pocket Monsters in Japan. That's where it originated. The earliest roots of the series date back to 1989, but the franchise officially didn't come about until 1995.
So we were 4 thereabouts, 4 or 5.
The idea, it stemmed from Satoshi Tajiri, who is one of the creators of the series. His childhood hobby of collecting insects and an inspiration from gashapon vending machines, which are little vending machines you'll find in Japanese streets where you put your money in, you turn the slot, and it dispenses a little capsule ball with a wee
you get them here too, sort of.
Is that what they are?
That's what they are.
Okay, fair enough.
But they're massive in Japan. So he paired these two ideas together to come up with what eventually will become Pokemon. Finding the game seemed rather lacking at the time, they embarked upon a very ambitious and bold new project. When I say they, I mean him and his partner Ken Sugimori, who was the artist who's obviously most known for all the Pokemon designs that we know and love today. He finalized all that. As I say, they embarked upon a very ambitious and bold new project, which would make the Game Boy handheld console a very desirable object for both children and adults alike.
No, decent eye.
Do you remember your first Game Boy?
I had the Game Boy Color, and it was the happiest moments of my life playing it. in primary school, people used to pay me to pass bosses. They couldn't pass.
I remember
and then
that,
I'd get
I
like
mean,
50 or like 70p or something, and then they'd throw me it, and then I'd just sit there for the entire lunchtime completing that boss with them.
Lad, you were an absolute demon
I
at
was a
it. Like,
machine. Like I could go and
You were
take
that
your
guy.
Pokemon
Say
up
it
to the
in the-
level they needed to be and go and beat that boss for you.
I didn't like you in primary school, so you know what do you call it? I just refused to give you any money for it.
Players would begin their journey and follow 3 simple goals: catch, trade, and battle. These objectives have remained the focal point of the series throughout its 24-year history. Pokemon has expanded into toy lines, anime, comics, trading card game, and music, to name a few. It currently stands as the highest grossing media franchise of all time.
That's insane.
It's earned over $90 billion in revenue.
That's
Surely
mad.
in the turn-based strategy games too, it's bound to be a lot bigger than the likes of Final Fantasy and other ones of that nature.
just-
Like,
it's-
it has to be like.
It's gigantic. That's
Aye.
the only way to put it. But anyways, less formal, lads. I'm just going to break into our first topic. What was your first Pokemon game?
Pokemon Blue.
I went with blue, red, and yellow, and then the serious shock when I realised they were all the same game.
Give or take, yeah.
Still completed them all.
What is the prerequisite? Was it like the first game you played or
Just-
first one you owned?
Just the very first game that you ever remember having or played on the Game Boy Color or whatever it was.
It was probably to steal my cousin's Game Boy and playing Pokemon Yellow for the first time.
Pokemon Yellow.
I went blue because, well, we're going to get into this.
Yeah.
You know, Squirtle's the main guy and always
Main
will
man.
be. And I went with
Blue was Blastoise,
I went with blue. Aye.
but it was Blastoise, not Squirtle.
Aye.
The evolutionary chain of Squirtle. You want to get technical about it?
Are you going to start mouthing, Dave?
It was just a wee bit of mouth in Dave, sorry.
Nobody cares about Blastoise, right? No, I went with blue, and then obviously I got, yellow, and again, it's
Yeah.
the same game. So, aye.
Well, my first game was Pokemon Red. I actually remember it so vividly. I got a lime green Game Boy Color
Oh, decent.
and it on
The most
I think it
90s
was-
color ever.
Yeah.
Lime green.
Oh,
Well, mine was a good dark purple.
oh, lad, I had the dark purple as well.
I got the tail end one where like you could see through all the circuitry and stuff.
Oh, I
Oh,
right
yeah.
them too, yes.
But yeah, I got Pokemon Red, so that was like the first ever game I got.
It
But
was,
I
it was
just
damn good. You were killing your parents to get. Do you remember there was
Oh, aye.
there was a Game Boy before the color, the big thick grey one?
Oh, I was the
Oh,
original.
I had the
OG,
original
yeah.
Game Boy.
Aye.
Yeah.
I used to
Remember a few
play
people-
a bit of it too. There was a game I played in it. I think it was called like Dastardly Duck or something, but it was right.
Darkwing Duck? No?
Darkwing Duck.
Yeah.
might have been
Darkwing
it,
Duck,
yes.
aye.
Legend. Absolutely.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
it was a very good game.
I would ask you about memories of the games, lad, but I'm pretty sure you've either forgotten or.
Well, I distinctly remember you literally charging people to beat bosses in primary school. Like, that was a thing. You were the go-to guy.
I was the
Prepping-
master. I had finished all, even though I had 3 of the exact same game, I'd finished them all multiple times. And
Was there some shady alley down the school you could just walk down and Kirby would be there?
it would just be me sitting there,
Hey kids, you want to buy a bus?
What boss are you on? That's an ADP boss. Come back
There's
in
like a
30
price,
minutes.
there's like a price list on the wall, like final
Oh,
boss.
you only had Brock? 20p.
Ah.
Come on ahead.
No, what do you call it? Did anybody else run into the what do you call it? The realization of when you bought Pokemon Yellow when you were playing it that the first boss was the hardest boss because like you had your Pikachu and then it was Brock and they did nothing against like rock types and it was the most fucking frustrating thing ever. I had to train up a Mankey. Yeah, him to beat Onyx.
That's all you have to do, catch a secondary Pokemon, train it up to be stronger, and
Aye.
then go at it.
But it was obviously easy with like Blue because Blue was like
Oh yeah, you're
easy
right.
as all
you get the
hell.
choice.
Brock wasn't even a a worry when it came to Pokemon Blue, but when you had like Pokemon
Did
Yellow,
Pikachu follow you in the Yellow?
he did.
Yeah,
That was the
Aye.
main feature of it.
That was.
See, because like at the time, obviously Pokemon was brand new. I didn't understand type disadvantages.
We
and
were
stuff
young,
like
we
that
hadn't a
there.
clue. Like,
Mhm.
And naturally enough, I just went for the character that I knew would eventually become the character on the box, which was Charmander into Charizard eventually.
Yeah,
But he's got a distinct disadvantage at the beginning of the game. Like, I think he actually is very weak against the first 2 gym leaders, being Brock and Misty. so
yeah, right enough.
you're
Misty as
already
well.
putting yourself at like a serious disadvantage.
Do you remember? What do you call the leads that you used to be able to trade Pokemon with
Oh,
your friends?
Link.
Yes, lad.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was so good.
The
Like,
Link
Came to
cables,
battle
yeah.
and stuff, weren't they?
aye.
Yeah.
You'd just be like, oh, I can't beat this here, boss. It's like, oh, here, just take my Pokemon and trade it back to me when you need them.
Here's my level 80 monkey.
Take my level 80 Mikey there. Can't lose the job for you, no other.
Anyways,
How did your Mikey not turn into a Primate?
Because you cancel the evolve.
I cancel all evolves in Squirtle.
Seriously?
Like, all
Oh, well, that makes sense. Yeah.
Nah, big fan.
moving on ever so slightly, this is kind of just going to be like quite final. You know, it's just more or less you're just stating what's your favorite game of the series. You don't even have to give like an explanation why, but just what is your favorite game, be it Pokemon Stadium, Pokemon Yellow, Coliseum, Pokemon Snap.
Coliseum was very fun. An underrated Pokemon game was Pokemon Coliseum. I had it on the, what do you call it, the GameCube?
You don't hear as many people talking about it.
I
nowadays.
never played any of those console games. I was purely handheld at that stage. Like, I'd never even heard until, like...
No,
I'm pretty sure I played that there one. It was the one that, like...
It was like 3D, and
Yeah.
you could, like, you could travel around vehicles and run around
Like, I remember,
the place and-
I remember, like, Stadium on Nintendo 64, you could use your Pokemon from the actual handheld and trade them and stuff like that there, but I never played any of the
See,
consoles.
at the time, I only had a Game Boy on a PlayStation, I believe, and my cousin Gav, shout out Gav, he had a Nintendo 64, which he had Pokemon Stadium and Pokemon Snap. So the only times I'd get playing these games was when I went and visited him during the weekends or whatever. But, you know, I've got to say, me personally, I'd go Pokemon Silver because I remember that just game coming along. I know it came after the first row of games, but that game just sticks
I'd
out
say
in my
exactly the
memory.
same because my favourite in my memory is Gold.
Gold.
And it came out at the
Yeah.
same time, like. And the thing about Gold is, I think that might be the same with yourself, is it came out at, you were at that perfect age for it to come out.
Yeah.
You know,
You're
you were
very
maybe a bit
aware of-
younger for
yeah.
the blue and you know, you were still playing a load of them, but you were maybe a bit younger, but you know, you really appreciated Gold because you were that.
Definitely, yeah.
See, for me, I think I got it's times.
Plus
and
it was harder.
It's 20 odd years ago or whatever, so it's hard to remember exactly everything that went on. But it's Blue's mine. Like, but the thing was is that I think the way you boys are saying that, like, you know, you preferred Gold and Silver because it came out a wee bit later.
Yeah.
I don't think I got the Game Boy and the blue right away. I'm nearly sure of it. I think I maybe had to wait a year or something, maybe possibly, and then I got blue. So I was kind of a wee bit older anyway, or whatever it was. But then maybe it was a couple of years
so
down
you
the
were
line.
just slightly late to the game.
Aye,
as
wee
such.
bit. I was like, you know, deep in the cards and stuff too. Like,
Yeah.
but I mean,
I even enjoyed it. Wasn't it the generation after that would have been like Leaf Green?
The generation that came after Gold and Silver was Ruby and Sapphire,
Yeah.
but I do know what you mean. There was remakes,
the remakes
Aye.
to Advance.
Red and Blue, which was Leaf Green.
They
'Cause-
were sort of remade
Fire
from
Red.
them.
Yeah.
I remember playing them in the Advance as well.
Yeah, they were real good.
They were
yeah,
fun, like,
definitely.
Blue's the one for me. Like, I'm a Squirtle.
The first actual like handheld game I ever owned with Pokemon was Crystal.
Oh, really?
Like I was like,
I've heard from now. Well,
it was
when
the
I
cover
say-
with Sea Queen in it. Wasn't it?
Mhm.
That was the first.
It was
one I
actually
owned.
the first game in the main series that came along where you could play as a girl.
Nice.
Because up until that point, you'd only been able to play as a boy.
Oh, right, okay.
Which I suppose a little bit sexist because girls can like Pokemon too.
Probably like it more than.
There's probably more, you know, all that could fit into the wee cartridges.
Oh,
of
yeah. They
information.
were dealing with serious
Yeah.
limited
Aye.
space and stuff. Yeah, moving swiftly on, fellas. Do you have a favorite episode of the anime? Like something that sticks out in your memory?
I'm going to be
banks?
exceedingly repetitive on this.
Squirtle Squad. You're
I'm
going-
setting a theme to this episode.
I'm a hard line 150 guy. Like, I'm not even going to go into like second gen
Squirtle all day.
Everybody is coming at this
differently.
topic differently.
But there's going to be a theme running throughout this in my point of view.
I'd
But
say
Squirtle Squad.
I like the Tentacool
Oh,
episode.
really? Oh, that's a
Wasn't
very
that bad,
controversial one too.
I quite like it. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's very good.
I mean, like we were actually able to watch that on TV, and then obviously it got pulled because
Aye.
of the September
Yeah.
11 attacks.
It's weird.
It was very weird, but yeah, I actually remember that one. That's a
Yeah.
very different kind of favorite. I like that one. That's pretty cool. That's
That
a
would
nice
be you,
shout out.
wouldn't it?
Very different.
My favorite episode is probably whenever Charizard, like, or Ash earns the respect of Charizard, and then like, you're the one,
I remember that.
and then he like starts following Ash's commands,
Mhm.
and just I think he's fighting the Magmar,
Against Blaine,
Yeah.
Cinnabar Island.
and like Charizard just absolutely like annihilates him. Once
Yeah.
like, I just thought that was cool. Like, he finally earned
Yeah.
respect, you know.
That was pretty
Sorry.
good too. I mean that episode. I did like that one because I was a big fan of Magmar too. Yeah.
You're a big fan of Magmar?
Oh lad, I'm watching one of my. We've got a wee bit coming up here. I've got Magmar. We're talking Magmar.
That's fairly
Talking
interesting.
about the series is too, I was very Brock heavy. I loved Brock.
Oh,
Yeah, Brock's a firm fan.
What about you, Tom? What was your favourite episode?
My episode would be, it's further on the series. It's in, I believe it's Johto.
This is what
whenever-
Tracy is getting
No. It's after that. There. The episode is actually called Charizard's Burning Ambition. If anybody wants to go and check that out, basically what happens in the episode is they arrive at this place called the Charizard Valley, and basically it's overrun by Charizards.
Yeah.
And there is a woman there that trains them all, and they all sort of operate in secret and everything. Basically no one gets in that they don't want in, kind of. So
Is a Charizard squad then?
yeah, pretty much, yeah. So, we know from watching the series, Ash has got a Charizard. He's very proud, very headstrong, all that there. So he lands into this place, and he's actually the smallest Charizard there.
Yes, I
So
remember
up until
now.
this point, we've all thought, oh, his Charizard's massive. Then it's faced with all these bigger ones, including a girl one with a pink bow that's far bigger, and it kicks Charizard's ass. Yeah, but basically, just to get sort of towards the end of it, basically what happens is Charizard loses all of its confidence, and it gets thrown outside, and it lands in water where obviously we know it's quite dangerous for a Charizard to be in because if its tail flame goes out,
yeah.
it dies. But basically he stands out there all night, and even Ash admits defeat, whereas Charizard doesn't. But then come the end, he defeats Team Rocket and he proves his worth. And then Ash makes the decision to let Charizard stay there, and he doesn't
What is
even
Ash doing
look
that all
at
the time?
Ash, or he doesn't even look at Charizard in the face as he runs away, and it just ends in a freeze frame. And I'm getting insanely nerdy. It's an anime, and it's Pokemon. But it's stuck with me, lads. So and then Charizard just sort of roars, and you see Ash crying, and lads, it just
Kind of like a Bye Butterfree vibe to it. as
yeah,
well.
very much so. Yeah, but it impacted me more because Charizard had been around for so
There was a
long.
few of
at
them
that point.
episodes
Yeah.
that sort of got you in the fields. Did everybody hear when they first seen the movie when they were younger cry?
Oh,
my God.
That's good, I bawled.
I was in primary school when we watched it. It was one of those we'll just end up watching the film here instead of actually teaching you valuable life lessons.
That is a valuable life lesson.
Yeah,
Watch,
No,
watch a small child cry.
yeah.
So what I'm going to ask you next, fellas, is sort of search your memory banks there. Do you remember any Pokemon myths or urban legends that came about in your days of playing the games or watching the series, or indeed just doing anything related to Pokemon?
Well, I never found a Mew or Mewtwo.
Yeah. There's a very big one, and it was if you were playing Red and Blue and Yellow, there's a truck just outside the SS Anne.
Right.
Now, as the theory goes, this is all playground topic of the day.
Okay.
So basically, there was a move called Strength that you could acquire from getting a HM.
Moving rocks and things.
Yeah. Anyways, as the rumor went, there was a Mew hidden underneath the truck. So you would need to get Strength, teach it to a Pokemon, go back to that area and push the truck, in which then a Mew would appear and you would battle it in an effort to catch it.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, that was one of the biggest ones.
Right, has
going
anybody
on.
tested this there?
It's been...
Has anybody here in the original games, because I played them so much, I never once even encountered a Mew or Mewtwo.
Nope.
No.
That's because you can't unless you use a Game Shark.
Oh, a game show, yeah.
Oh, I don't even know what that is.
Basically, it's like a cheat system.
Ah, right, okay. No, I never...
I know there was also the one,
Did you not
About
have to
the
battle
glitch?
a Mew at some time? or-
Signo.
although I'm a signal, that's what you call it, the
Well, it was
glitch
just
in the
a-
signal.
That's the
aye.
number. That was the biggest one I know about.
Aye, that's the biggest one I know.
It's a very big one.
What's that there now? I'm lost.
You can
Okay,
base-
I'll educate
Ta-
Dave.
ta-
Basically, the Masigno glitch was when if you appear, it appeared when you surfed along a certain part of Cinnabar Island.
Right.
After having went to the old man in Viridian City who is drunk in the Japanese version but tired in the English and European versions. Basically, he gives you like a tutorial how to catch a Pokemon. So after that once that happens, you then fly to Cinnabar Island after you've watched that tutorial. You swim up and down like the side of Cinnabar Island, and after a while this thing appears and it's called Missing No.
Right.
and it's just a big jumbled up pile of like
Just a glitch.
data. It's
It looks like a glitch.
yeah.
Matrix.
Isn't it just
It's-
like a glitch? Isn't it not like a glitched Mew or something? Like, but it's like you
I
can't
don't
find the
know-
number
I don't
in the code
know
or something.
what it was meant to be.
I think from what I've heard about
Was it
that,
like it's missing
it was a
number?
Pokemon that they'd perhaps put into the game and then they'd taken out of the game, or something that they'd put into the game and then taken out of the game, but
But they
the
hadn't-
glitch had still remained in the
yeah,
game.
it's
Hadn't
still-
entirely wiped the
yeah.
code.
Right. Okay.
But then what would happen was if you caught it, everything in the 6th item in your bag would multiply
Okay.
like to like not an infinite amount, but a
Aye.
serious amount. So
Like
say
99.
If you had like a great ball.
yeah,
Yeah.
say
Alright,
you wanted like 99 Master Balls, you'd get it.
Alright,
if you
fair enough.
wanted
Basically
99,
a dude glitch.
yeah,
basically,
if you wanted 99 rare candies, you'd get it.
I could have used this 20 years ago.
But the problem was
Well,
as
I
well.
never encountered, although I know that one's kind of real, you can do it, but I never encountered it either. Like.
No.
Yeah. Oh, it's weird. But then also the thing is, a lot of people then thought, oh, I'll catch this weird Pokemon. Like,
Mhm.
but as soon as you would do that, your whole game would just either crash or
glitch out.
just everything would glitch out. You know, like you'd go to the Pokemon League or whatever and see if you had won it,
Mhm.
you'd be able to see your Pokemon, but they would all appear like glitched out and stuff. It's weird. It's
Right, okay.
so warpy. But that's basically it's one of the
Alright.
most infamous glitches in probably games
Yeah,
in
fair
general. But yeah,
Later became a Pokemon too, didn't it?
I don't know, man.
Or is that unofficial?
I would say it would be more unofficial.
I
But is it
imagine
not-
someone's
is it-
modded it at some point.
But is
made
it not
a
like a
Pokemon, but-
single Pokemon? No. Am I
No.
thinking it's like it's different shapes all the time?
No,
What am I thinking of?
I don't think so. Well,
Well, I don't know the full, how many is there now?
there's I think last count
600?
like 780.
I see.
It's mental.
See, I know the originals, a few of those, one in newer gen and maybe a few other ones, but I can't say I could name you the full 790.
I can barely name. I could maybe stretch to 160. Like.
Well, I'm just gonna rhyme out a couple here.
Oh, don't start the poker up, whatever. you
Oh
do.
no, don't worry. I'm not going down a serious rabbit hole. I'm just going to name a few. And
Oh, the poker
if
app's
this
great.
interests anybody, you can go look it up. It's easily found when you Google it. One of the biggest ones that I thought about, this is again going back to the games, was do you know the character Bill who sets up like the PC for you and that's
Yeah,
the
Bill's
story of Pokemon?
PC. Yeah.
Well, anyways, you go and visit him in his house, but the rumor was that he had a secret garden out the back of his house that apparently in some sort of way you could access this
Okay.
and you would find what was known at the time as Peekaboo.
Jesus Christ.
It was another form of Pikachu, but really, in actual fact, it was actually a Pokemon that eventually came in the second generation called Marl.
Right.
It's
Okay.
like a little blue mouse-looking
Yeah.
thing. Apparently, you could find him. You could find Togepi.
And this is in the game. And this is in the Game Boy
This
games.
is in the red, blue, and yellow versions.
Really?
hmm
Okay.
So that's why, like at the time, it was so.
I'm definitely
Do you
YouTubing
remember
this
in the
later.
gold where you could breed your Pokemon?
Oh yeah, yeah. You could also apparently find a Steel Onyx, which we all
Steelix.
know Steelix came
Steelix,
about
aye.
later. But at the time, this was like insane. I remember like avidly looking at my Game Boy, like thinking like, how do I get in the back of his house? How
Uh-huh.
do I get into this garden? I want to catch these Pokemon because if you caught them Pokemon, you'd be a Pokemon legend.
Aye.
They talk at the playground.
But yeah, look it up if it interests you. as
I'm
well.
definitely looking that up.
Good shout out to a good website or a good YouTube page. Did you know gaming? They've got all that stuff.
Oh really? Yeah.
Uh,
I like wee Easter eggs I got there. They're pretty cool. Like.
This is a weird one, and this is more anime related. It's called Ash's Coma.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
Basically, it explains why Ash never ages throughout the series. Right?
All a dream.
It's all a dream.
If you remember in the first episode, Pikachu gets injured while fighting Spearow, and Ash lifts him up, and I think it's when he steals Misty's bike and they're trying to escape from
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Pokemon Center.
I remember that.
Anyways, they're being chased down by Spearow. Ash stands up to the Spearow. Pikachu, seeing Ash doing this for him, finally decides, I like this guy, and jumps up and then electrocutes the life out of him. But like, Pikachu's attack is so supercharged that it near goes like, it
It's
looks like
nuclear.
a bomb going
yeah.
off, more or less. But the theory is that after this, it left Ash in a coma, and everything that we see thereafter in the series is all a part of his coma and his dreams.
I've heard that one.
That's dark
And
as
that
fuck.
is why he's perpetually young throughout the series, and why he
Benjamin
never
Button
ages. It's actually mental.
Benjamin Ketchup.
And then just one last thing. This is a real weird one, and I'm going to throw this one out for Crippy because he likes Brock.
You're under pressure now, Dave. Do you
This
feel it?
one is called Brock's eye theory. I only came across
been
this
blind the whole
actually
time.
quite recently.
Right.
So basically, the theory is why Brock's eyes are always closed is because, do you know the old story? I'm not sure. It's like, is it like a Greek myth or whatever? Like Medusa
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
aye, yeah.
a head
yeah.
of
If you look at
snakes.
her,
If you look at
her,
her-
turn to stone or something.
turned to stone. That's
and
the
he's
theory.
and he's a rock guy.
And he's a
It's a
rock
bit on the
Pokemon
nose.
trainer.
Aye.
Brock trains exclusively with rock Pokemon because they are the only things that he can open his eyes and look at without turning to stone.
Oh,
That's pretty good.
That's a bit nuts.
Oh, there's so many more.
I'd
and
say it's more the Asian stereotype, but I mean,
I
Jesus, I'll
could,
get us kicked off.
I could spend another 10 minutes talking about these.
It's
but
clearly an Asian stereotype, Brock. Like.
The views expressed.
you can definitely can find all these pretty damn handy.
My favorite was like it's pretty basic, like, but like, was it the first episode where you see like
Did you just fart?
Yes.
Right, Dev?
Right.
I'm going to have to edit that at some point. We might leave it in. I don't know.
Leave it in.
Leave it in. Like, like, you didn't even just give us a heads up or anything. Like,
No.
oh, Christ.
Better out than in.
This is a small cabin. Like,
Any of our listeners
Small
out there can
enclosed
tell you that
space.
it's
Very
healthy.
enclosed
It's unhealthy to hold it in.
oh, that's
It's all
awesome.
natural.
Oh, you're a horrible human being, right?
like, oh, let's see.
Don't laugh.
Right.
Sorry, Tom.
Let's
Oh,
get this
no.
back on track.
You're okay.
We have a lot of editing to do.
The next talking point I was going to hit, lads, was obviously like the trading card game.
Yeah.
We've all obviously had the trading cards. We've
Yep.
all played them. We've all traded them. We've all had a roaringly good time with them.
Yeah, but
Oh,
we've
aye.
all played them and played various different types of the rules because I don't think anyone in the history of man has ever found out the exact rules of the Pokemon trading card game.
No, the one, like, the collecting of them was definitely a thing for me.
Because you know, you'd play with one group of lads and they'd be like, oh, this is the way we play, and then you play with another group of lads and be like, no, this is the way we play.
Aye. And each
What
way,
are the rules?
each way was the proper way. Like,
I had no
But,
clue how to play it.
no idea. That was
No, I think for the most part we all just collected them and traded them.
yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's
Oh, we also battled them, just, you know, not correctly.
This
yeah.
number's bigger than that number, so I must win.
That's kind of why like Yu-Gi-Oh I think took off as well too, because it was like a game or an anime and a show based around
Yeah.
a card game that you could play, which was easy.
It definitely, I think, was a lot handier, got onto, and probably a lot easier to understand.
Aye.
Even though Yu-Gi-Oh has got a serious amount of rules and things going on in it.
Aye, but it was clearly defined because you were learning as you
had
were
to
watching the
have
show.
points and you know,
Aye,
his attacks this and my attacks this, then he loses this many health
Aye,
points.
see, I gave all my cards to my younger brother when, like, because it just shows you the longevity of Pokemon too. Like, there's about an 11-year gap between him and me,
Yeah.
and he, you know, watched the whatever generations of Pokemon that he would have been watching, and like he collected his generation 2 cards, but he's got mine as well. But I've a cool wee one still in pretty decent condition, and I've looked up different prices for it and stuff, and I've got a wide range of things. Like, but it's it was like it's a Machamp. And it's got, like, it's like a wee holographic shiny Machamp thing,
A foil type.
but it's got a Pokemon movie stamp on it.
Ah, yeah.
Aye.
So it's like an
So-
exclusive.
Aye,
yeah.
something like that. And obviously, you know,
I'm glad you brought that up because Dev actually reminded me of it at the start of this podcast. So now I'm about to tell this story. So basically, as the story goes, lads, 9-year-old me went to a shop, got my mum to buy me my first blister pack of Pokemon cards. So there's 9 wee cards in these things. Anybody that's bought Pokemon cards will know this. I remember it so vividly because on the actual blister pack was Blastoise. This is how vividly I remember this. So I remember opening this in my granddad's car, and one of the first cards that was unveiled when I ripped the packaging or whatever was a holographic Raichu. So
decent.
that was pretty bitching.
Uh-huh.
Like I was like, oh my god, I'm off to a great start.
Uh-huh.
Lieutenant Surge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, I had this card for a grand total of perhaps I think a weekend because I went back home.
Oh, you told
and-
me this story before, actually.
Yeah, there's an older lad. You know, I'm not going to mention his name. You know who you are. If you listen to this. Anyways, so you know the Pokemon movie had just I think hit at that point. Like
Yeah.
so, you know, it was fever pitch at this point. Like.
Mhm.
So obviously we all thought Mewtwo, strongest Pokemon ever.
Uh-huh.
Like, you know, how can Mewtwo be outdone?
Uh-huh.
And, you know, I was quite happy with my Raichu. But this fella in the street happened to have a holographic Mewtwo, which was scraped to holy hell. I mean, it was in bad condition. But because it was Mewtwo, he was able to convince a much younger me that this was a great trade.
You're still harboring a big grudge about this, aren't you?
I will never forget.
Wait till you hear.
I get done as bad in the football cards too.
Anyways, I made the trade, thought, what an idiot, he gave me Mewtwo and I gave him Raichu. I have won this trade. Anyways, a couple of days, maybe months later, I'm not sure of the time frame, but I happen to be walking down the football field that's just across from my house where I live.
Yeah.
And I just happened to see a torn up card, fairly beaten up by the weather, and I was like, who would rip up a card? So curiosity just got the better of me. I lifted the card. One half was the bottom half of the Raichu card. And not far away from that, I found the top half of it. So this guy had traded me, to get my card, and for some reason, just in pure badness, decided to tear it up.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, flash forward about maybe 20 odd years or whatever after, I find out that this card, this Raichu first edition holographic card, will fetch you anything between $18,000 to $20,000.
Jesus Christ.
I
see, that's like even my.
I had a deck, and my deck was, when you had the other deck tied together, and it couldn't even be tied together by a hair bubble. It's that big.
It's serious when you got your own
they actually
card
had elastic bands to tie it around.
Lad, I stopped putting elastic bands around mine because my deck at that ridiculously big. It was like, you didn't want it because it was starting to cut on the edges.
Mine were too.
So I had the bad deck and then the good deck. You had your there's my friggin'
you always had that. You always had your deck, and then you had your spare deck, which was your trading deck, which was your who wants to trade with me.
Like duplicates and stuff like that.
I've seen a write out ones for that Machamp. It's my younger brother was asking me about it. He was saying, them as your first editions and all, and sort of was kind of. I was like, but we got them as first editions because they all came out when we were at the age to be collecting them, that sort of way. But I've seen it. I can't remember now off the top of my head. But if anybody listens to this and wants a shiny Machamp with a fucking first Pokemon movie sticker on it, it's like a wee stamp, in the bit where the Machamp sits, there's a wee stamp and it says the Pokemon movie or whatever. If somebody wants to tell me how much that's worth and then give it to me, I will give you the card. It's upstairs and in really good condition because my wee brother took them and then put them into the sleeves and stuff that we should have done and never did.
I just imagine some old the way people make their fortune on oils, an oil barn. How'd you make your fortune? Pokemon cards.
I think I seen something like that, lad. There was one. No, I don't watch these shows or anything, but it was one of them collector shows that they go into pawn shops or something.
Pawn Stars
with
Charizard, yeah.
And he got $50,000.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, it's serious.
There was serious money and all that collectible stuff. And I can't even remember half, but I had so many. Imagine if I want to sell them all now, there'd be $1,000 or more's worth there, unless there was any special rare ones.
But you mean even the ones?
Because as you were saying, these are all the ones that we would have got when we were kids would have been first edition, first Pokemon cards on the market.
But you remember the ones
we thought nothing of it?
No, that was just these new cards, let's buy them.
But you mean the ones it was the fat Pikachu. Do you remember it?
Oh yeah.
You had the redone up Pikachu and all that there carry on, but you had the one that was they were rougher drawn or something. They were more. It was I can't remember. When people listen to this, they'll know what I'm talking about. But it was a kind of stouter Pikachu than the slim one that was on the sort of maybe second edition cards or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I have a stack of them too, the real old ones, and they're kind of grainy nearly, the colours in them and stuff. They're not a real light.
I had yellowed just pure age.
But there's a good stack of them upstairs, and somebody wants them.
I think the only card that I have left over from them days is a shiny Gyarados. I think I don't know even how it's remained.
That was one of them things too. Do you remember that there? That always used to happen when you were. It was the shiny Gyarados or whatever is really hard to get, and there was just lads making up just barefaced lies to get yards off you.
I do have.
I'm not gonna lie, I did it too.
This story is a shout out to my friend Kyle O'Hare. I'm just gonna throw it in there because there's nothing to do with Pokemon, but it is a card story. When we were collecting football cards, and I had Fabian Barthez from Manchester United. And Kyle O'Hare told me that if I didn't trade him Fabian Barthez for about 11 cards of his that were all terrible, that he wasn't going to be my friend anymore. So to keep my friendship intact, I traded him Fabian Barthez.
The old school Kyle Huff,
and I've been huffing ever since.
There's a few men holding grudges in here, boys. I like it.
I do have a bit of a silver line to the whole Raichu thing, though. My deck.
I later punched him in the face.
My Pokemon deck was perhaps the most savage Pokemon deck in all of the playground of my school at the time. Just declaring that.
Fair
There's
enough.
a lot of people that want to come trade with me, and I
Me and
didn't
you
do
have fighted out for our class day. I'll not pretend like you didn't beat everybody at the games, but I'll claim better deck maybe.
Just before I move on, did any of you ever know anybody that owned that holographic Charizard? Did you ever meet anybody that actually had one? God, them
I
things
can't
were like
remember.
hands
I
teeth.
have a spotty history with the trading card game.
No, me
I
too.
can't mind.
I can't mind either.
I do just there was definitely lads at the Charizards, but the holographic ones might have been a hard one to get a hold of. Like
No.
Did any of your schools ban Pokemon cards?
they tried to, no, lad, they did trade it.
Oh, they tried till, I think, but
They
Thankfully
banned it at the one I went to.
There was just too much shit going, and then there's men selling cards. And
Yeah.
it was you, Dev.
Freaking black market
I might have
Pokemon
sold a
cards.
couple
Like,
of cards as well. Like, there, you have to get rid of your duplicates somewhere. Like, no one will trade you for them. You have to sell them. Like,
Here's two counterpieces.
people can't come up with the money
oh,
for the
what,
boss
you get
fights.
50p's lunch money. I could do a wee 50p bond at lunch here.
Well,
I'll sell you 3 of these cards for 50p.
you had mentioned it, and that actually is the next point I wanted to hit up. The first Pokemon movie, lads.
Yeah.
What
Samuel
was
Classic.
that like?
The first
for all
Pokemon
these-
movie was a great experience. I think it was the best experience of my young life.
I generally have a hard time deciding whether it's it or Space Jam as my favorite.
No, it's Pokemon. See, when I think of my childhood favorite
Space Jam is
movie,
pretty
like
high up there for me.
my childhood favorite movie was Pokemon. Or strangely enough, never ending story, but Pokemon.
Yeah.
No, I was massive Looney Tunes, like, so I would roll something like Space Jam, but Pokemon was obviously massive too, like.
Do you all remember going and seeing it in the cinema?
I think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the first movie, TV show, or anything that made me cry.
Yeah,
I
was
probably.
Pokemon.
I'm right there with you, man.
Yeah.
Never saw it in the cinema.
Did you not?
What?
Oh my god.
Oh, I.
That's
I wasn't
horrible.
a big cinema goer back in my childhood.
Ooh.
All the 3 films I remember seeing in
I
my
wasn't a
childhood.
huge cinema goer, but when there was films that come out that you had to go
Like
see.
I saw Casper, Hercules.
Jasper was so good.
Fell asleep during Hercules, by the way, because it just bored the absolute tits.
What?
Heresy.
That is her.
Brian,
Best
come
Disney
on, you're a
film.
child. You don't know what's going on. Like, and you're expecting a nice animated film, but like, no, it bored the crap.
Jesus,
Oh, no, I-
Hercules
But
is
I
one
haven't-
of my
I haven't-
favorite
Hercules
animated
is
films.
my
I
favorite
remember, I
Disney
loved it. Was the first one of the first games I got on the original PlayStation.
Oh, lad, that
It
game was so
on-
good.
hard as fuck.
It was hard as hell.
I loved that first level because I only want to I couldn't beat it, so I was only what I
I
saw.
had big falling towers,
Yes.
remember, in the class.
I loved your wee goat man. What do you call him?
Philly
Phil,
Tiki.
Nice, hilarious.
Down, isn't that video?
Don't need a video yet.
Aye.
Oh, just
Frank Reynolds.
Sweet and
Can offer you an egg in its trying time.
Best Disney film ever. That's just.
But I haven't seen it since, so maybe my adult brain now can.
No, but Hercules is a weird one because Hercules is a wee bit more adult than the rest of them. Like Hercules is kind of like they're sort of like
Goes down some-
innuendos and stuff.
But
But
all,
like,
all Disney movies have adult undertones.
aye, but Hercules a wee bit more so. Like,
Like, I rewatched Lion King recently. It's dark. That is a dark movie.
It's basically Macbeth with lions. Like.
So, Gary, you didn't see it in the cinema.
I saw it in primary
You
school.
guys
Yeah,
have seen it.
definitely that, aye.
I think we're all in agreement here. We all bawled our eyes
ball
out.
their eyes out. Aye.
For
Thinking
anybody,
that this is the end of Ash. Like,
for anybody that doesn't know, spoiler alert, Ash dies temporarily.
aye.
In
Turns
near-
to like stone or something,
Yeah.
or whatever the hell that
It is a very sad scene.
Came around.
Is it a Nurse Joy that Mewtwo's got mind control of?
It is, lad.
Aye.
Aye. But she's like blue hair for some reason, or am I remembering this wrong?
She's still got the same colour hair. She's still got pink hair, but it's her eyes that are a wee bit sort of blurry.
maybe that's it, aye.
Yeah, because
There's the other one. She's like, what do you
Because
call
Nurse Joy went missing, and that was the mystery at the start.
You're
She
thinking
went,
Officer Jenny?
Officer Jenny? They're the same fucking person.
But Brock finds differences in every single one of them.
Brock's definitely the comedic
Oh,
humor.
you're definitely the Jenny from Viridian City.
It's like Joey from Yu-Gi-Oh! Joey was my favourite from Yu-Gi-Oh! Like,
Do you think
just
they
comedic.
could-
oh no, Kaiba and Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh, lad, Joey, like red eyes, black dragon, fuck
Do you-
blue eyes, like.
Do you think they could do a character like Brock in this day and age with like the whole #MeToo movement?
like,
He'd be a
Brock just
precarious
perverting
character.
every woman every time.
oh,
That's the thing with anime. That's the thing I love about Japanese animation is the fact that they don't stray away from.
Oh, like
you know,
Master
taboo.
Roshi is like in the
Oh my-
original Dragon Ball. Like anytime a hot girl appeared, like his nose would just bleed. Profusely.
Pervy Sage and Naruto, like, he's
Exactly,
literally
yeah.
called Pervy Sage.
Yeah, no.
Jiraiya, that's
Jiraiya.
See.
So Pokemon Go, lads, 1 billion downloads.
Aye.
1 billion.
I played Pokemon Go and found enjoyment out of it for about 2 weeks.
I never played it.
I nearly got
never
knocked down
downloaded
because of
it.
Pokemon Go.
I downloaded it, like, but I mean, you know,
I played it for about 2 weeks, like, and I mind going down to Port Rush one day to catch Pokemon for the fun.
I mean, you went down to Port Rush to not catch Pokemon.
No, I went down to Port Rush and
and then
ended
turned
up
it
running
on.
around catching Pokemon. yeah, well, you know, the
You-
two aren't exclusively.
You could definitely argue that's when Pokemania almost like made a
Rebirth.
its second
Aye.
coming.
But then we're too old for like the
Although
one
it's got a
thing.
lot, like, you know, the game's meant to have a lot of upgrades and updates, and it's
Yeah,
meant to be
it-
really different now, really good. Like, I haven't played. I played it for a
there's-
couple of weeks and then sort of lost interest.
There's full on raid battles and all stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Like,
there.
I mean, you literally couldn't walk about without seeing people.
Oh yeah.
But most of the times you do walk around, people are on their phones, but at that time,
Yeah.
Now they were
you knew
catching
people
Pokemon.
were because they were flicking the Pokemon.
You'd see that there was this great Pokemon here, and you'd like walk up to see if you could get it, and there'd be
Yeah.
3 or 4 other people walking around with their phone, you know.
Like once you start hearing about Pokemon on the news again, you know that's when someone hit the big
Something
one.
But
Aye.
here, did anyone else think, right, when Pokemon Go came out, I just looked at it and thought, if that was out when I was about 10 years of age,
all over.
that would have been the greatest thing that ever happened
See,
to my
this is-
childhood. Like,
Definitely.
I think maybe me and you, Tom, talked about this one time, but it was like we've all sort of watched animes. Obviously, like Dave, you're a massive Dragon Ball. Tom as well. Yuri, I think as well, probably
Oh, yeah.
too. But you know, Pokemon was good and everything, but it's the one that is the most childish out of the lot of them.
oh, it is.
You know what I
like-
mean?
Oh,
so
definitely.
like obviously to link
So
it
there's
into
a
this,
lot of animes out there, like, you know, that I wouldn't, you know, say well, children should watch. Like,
No,
you know, they're adult animes, like.
like, but to
Definitely.
tie it to the Pokemon
Pokemon's
Go
definitely
thing.
children, like.
Aye, definitely. But like to
Okay.
tie it to the Pokemon Go thing, you know, you kind of, it was probably massive for children, like, you know, that sort of road. Whereas when it came out, it was a few years ago, so we were in our mid-20s, like, so I mean, you know, it's not going to be big for us. We maybe got a couple hours enjoyment out of
I
it, whereas
enjoyed it for a
probably
bit, but
I suppose
children were probably enjoying it way
I
more.
suppose in a way it kind of was like what red, blue, and yellow were to us. You know,
Yeah,
that
probably.
was like a lot of people's introduction
Mhm.
to Pokemon. You know, at an early age. So that's probably why it just took off in the way that it did.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be half as popular if the anime didn't come out at the same time?
Pokemon.
Do
I
you think the
don't know.
games and the
I
card game could have carried it?
I think so. I think so
it
because
probably
it was
wouldn't
just
have
a
been the
perfect
same-
storm, wasn't it?
Everything coming out in the one go, I think it maybe wouldn't have been the same impact without the anime, like, but
Because it was that
Even
thing you were
then,
watching, you had them, all that sort of carry on too.
yeah, that's it.
You know,
Like,
And
it was a combination.
And the Game Boy it like came down to like a price where it was really affordable to them. Like they had perfect, like you said, the perfect storm.
Aye, just because it was all they just hit you with so much stuff.
Yeah.
Because I've even got wee things in there still too. Like I have a toy box it's literally a toy box in my attic, and it's from all the old stuff that I had too. But it's like like figurines and different things. You had like, do you remember there was like even stuff that you wouldn't have like children don't do nowadays, or I don't think that they do. There was like magnets for your fridge, and
Yeah.
they had like it was completely plastered everywhere. And
I was back in primary school. I was part of the Pokemon club. This is how nerdy I was. Like, and popular, like. But every month they would send you like a Pokemon guidebook and like novelizations of each of the episodes.
Uh-huh.
Like episode 1 to 4, you get like a novelization
Aye.
and stickers and stuff like that. There,
Oh,
best £10 a month there. That I did not spend, but my parents did.
to be fair, here's a funny story. You know the way at Christmas you have a crib,
uh-huh.
you know,
Oh, dear
well,
God.
in our crib we had Pokemon in it. Because I had like child or like figures when I was a child, and then you know they eventually just get put into the crib. So every year when the crib goes out, the Bulbasaur, the Charmander, the Pikachu,
Our Lord and
all get
Saviour.
put in
Which one's
the
baby
crib.
Jesus?
Our Lord and Savior Bulbasaur.
Oh no, Jesus and all the things and there's sheep and cows and everything else. Then there's just also a few Pokemon hanging around the back too. Like, this is
Oh,
my alternative
here.
religion.
It's alright.
So this is a little bit more of a joke topic here.
Uh-huh.
Jesse and James, lads,
Uh-oh.
are they banging?
I always thought they were brother and sister.
God! That's exactly what I said.
Why do you think that?
Tom messaged me the other
See,
day.
it's never been said that they are, but it's never been said that they aren't.
I think it has definitely been established firmly that they're not.
See, you made me out to be like, what the hell are you talking about? that they're brothers?
Well, I'm just
Like you
because
did.
that's the first I ever heard of it, and I
But
thought,
it's
what the hell?
But it's the relationship that they have is very
They look alike.
brother and sister.
No, I always thought Jesse or James was Jesse's gay best friend. Like I thought
How
James
the
was
fuck we can do this on the table and everybody's come up with different answers?
everybody's got different interpretations of this thing.
Tom messaged me, obviously we're doing this topic. Tom
I think there's
messaged
a
me.
lot of sexual undertones in their relationship. Like there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes.
I didn't pick that up at all.
I don't know. I think they get on like siblings.
Aye, that's
You
what I
know,
thought.
they don't get on at all, but you know they love each other anyway.
See, you messaged me about like doing this Pokemon one, and me and you had a wee back and forth, and then you sent in like sort of talking points to give us a wee like overview on what we're gonna cover and stuff, and the Jesse and James thing, and I was like, are they not brother and sister? So I replied to Tom about being brother and sister, and I thought I was the weird one. I was like, I thought that they were brother and sister. Maybe you're the weird one.
I'm not the weird one.
You're the weird one.
What did you call the opposite group of the other members? Was Butch and
Butch and Cassidy.
but they're both like old school Western cowboys.
Yeah, it's
Play on.
a play on the names. Yeah. No, it's pretty interesting. I just thought I'd throw that in for a wee bit of random.
A lot
That's
of
probably the best bit of the podcast.
Such
I don't think
different-
anything was established
Yeah.
there. Like,
No.
I don't think anybody knows it. But
So they're either gay best
Send
friends.
your theories into the
No,
comments
like
below.
James, he's a bit camp. Like
Is James Jess's gay best friend? Are they brother and sister, or cousins, siblings, related in some way, or are they, as Tom so elegantly put it, banging?
smashing.
Let us know in the comments below.
Please comment.
Brother and sister.
another quite quick one, lads. Do you still play the series? And if not, what was the last game that you ever played?
My younger brother had like the Nintendo DS or whatever, and then it was a white one, I think.
Black and white.
Black and white, yeah.
Black and white, I think.
Yeah,
So he
we
said
spun
that there
it
was
out.
white, but then he said that there's like I'm the one person here that didn't follow it on in any way, shape, or form. I was like 150 or 151 or whatever it was on dead, basically. So he was telling me that there's some sort of like app, or not app, like some sort of addition to it or whatever, that you can just like play with the original 150 in the modern game of it or something. I think now it might have been white. It could have been a more
I
recent
think
one.
that's when you beat the game. Like a lot of the original Pokemon.
Twice,
show up.
like. Sorry, Gary.
But like if you beat, I think it's Black 1 or White 2 or something, like one of those games. But
Aye.
if you beat it, a lot of the original 150 show up.
Aye, that might have been it, lad. He was like, if you get there, you get the 150 or something like that, and you can play with them. So I was sort of ended a wee bit that way to get back to playing with the 150 in a modern version of the game, because it's obviously like it was a 3DS or something I think it was on, and he's obviously got that. So I was like, I footed with it for all of maybe 2 days. Probably last year, actually, I think it might have been, but probably all for about 2 days, and then it was like, oh, maybe you backed it. Never did,
That's
but
fair enough, man. That's actually more recent
When did-
a game than I had played.
When did Coliseum come out?
Oh,
2003,
years ago, man.
2002.
Years ago.
No, then it would have been later than that.
The GameCube.
I had I think the last. I
You had
had
the
it
PSP
right
and
up
stuff,
until
didn't
the. I had them in the PSP. Well,
Yeah, an emulator.
I don't support any of
Yes.
that. Support your game makers. people.
Alleged emulator, allegedly,
Emulator.
Yes.
Oh,
Will not incriminate you.
for legal purposes.
Yes, but let me think. It maybe would have been. I had the Nintendo DS, but I never really played much Pokemon on it. I had the newer, but I'd say what would have been the last ones that come out in the Game Boy Advance XP?
Ruby.
Possibly, I
The
want to
remix,
say
Red and Green.
Pearl and Diamond and Pearl. Maybe
No, it was DS.
was it?
Yes.
Well, then Ruby and Sapphire maybe
Yeah,
was when you.
that was the last one in
yeah,
advance.
last played.
I think I played Ruby and Sapphire. Although the last ones that I played properly, like fully, like I really invested in, probably would have been Leaf Green, you know, the remakes.
Yeah.
They were in advance as
Oh,
well.
fair enough, man. And yourself, Gary?
A bit of a lapsed player, but the last ones I played was the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee.
Oh, so
I got the Eevee version, and a mutual friend of ours got Pikachu.
Hmm.
I thought it was an unreal remake of the first game. Like it had the mechanics from Go, but a lot more streamlined and.
it looked pretty good, lad. I
It
never
was.
got it.
It looked class. The art style and all was perfect. Like and like the Switch is like the weakest of the platforms at the minute, but it worked really well. Like, that was the last one I played.
Do any of you remember there was a wee thing that came out and they were kind of like, they were sort of popular at the time and they were kind of like, you mean the Tamagotchi things?
Yeah.
And the wee Digivice
Oh,
things?
yeah, the wee.
Oh,
Remember
that was
the Pokemon
the
version?
that was for the remake for Soul Silver.
Yeah, they were fun. I just
Yeah.
want to throw that out there.
The
What was the last one?
I was the Pokemon.
I think the last game that I played was actually a bit like yourself, Dave. I played one of the remakes. I played Soul Silver. That was the last one that I ever played. I think I got it one Christmas, and I think that's the last game I properly took a look at, played to
Yeah.
a certain point,
Well, I
before I
haven't
put it down.
played I haven't played a lot of the newer games, but I can say with complete certainty that Gold is the best Pokemon game.
I think Pokemon Silver
They
and
brought
Gold.
reading in like
Pokemon Silver and Gold are sort of universally agreed upon as the best installments in
because
the
they were
franchise.
just they improved on the originals,
Yeah.
but not so much that they took the charm away from the originals.
Yeah.
Some of the other ones maybe did with adding too much mini games and silly things that
Yeah.
you didn't really want to be doing in your Pokemon game, whereas Gold was still streamlined, but also sort of improved on the original.
It stayed very much in the vein of what you loved before, and
with
they
just more things to
added
do.
on to it. Okay, I know Dave's gonna like this one, so we're gonna let you go first. Your favorite generation of Pokemon, being like Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, and your favorite Pokemon of all time.
I think we've already established this pretty heavily. I'm a first generation guy, and I was just hooked pretty much straight away early on with Squirtle, and he's been the favourite ever
I'm
since.
shocked.
You are an honorary member of the Squirtle Squad.
I'm telling you that. That was my favourite episode. He's my favourite. If we get on to that, I had like a level 80 something Squirtle in the games. I didn't evolve him. I wasn't a fan of like War Turtle, wasn't a fan of Blastoise.
I like War Turtle. He is definitely underappreciated.
I didn't like the friggin' Pokemon
I didn't
going
like
through
the,
their moody teenage.
the second gen ones. It just seemed like moody teens.
But Squirtle for me, definitely Squirtle Squad all day, and he was my favourite from the get-go pretty much. Like, and what was that, like episode 8 or something?
It was
it
the
was
first
early enough. in the
I think
series.
it might have been the first 10 episodes you seen him, and I was like, yeah, he's the one, and that'll do it.
That'll do it.
Shut it down. Just shut it down.
Dev, what about you?
It's definitely first gen, and there's too many to choose from. Like, see, I'll tell you one now, and then it'll probably change next time you ask me. I like the fighting types. I'm gonna go Hitmonlee.
Hitmonlee.
Fair enough.
Interesting, lad. Interesting. Gary?
Like, I do love the first gen, but probably just gonna go second gen, Totodile.
I liked a bit of Totodile too, to be fair. Yeah. Tom? I don't think I've ever asked you this,
I really hate to be this guy, but I'm gonna have to agree with these lads. It's Gen 1 all the way. It's just a gen that can never be surpassed. Don't get me wrong,
Some of the modern Pokemon, like, you can tell they're really running out of ideas.
Yeah.
Like, did I see an ice cream cone Pokemon?
Yes,
Here's a keychain, like.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, there's some very questionable designs coming out from the later gens, but at the same time, I'm not. In a way, I'm not one of them fans that just totally disregards all the later generations.
I'm like, to be fair, I'm not like that. I just never followed it on, so the ones that I know is the first one.
I've been able to look on to the other generations and be able to go, oh my god, there's so many cool designs in this particular gen or that particular gen. So I don't just hate all the rest, but I think unquestionably it has to be Gen 1. Because it's just obviously where our heart's at, and it's just our childhood right there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Gen 2 is amazing.
It's a good follow up. Like.
Do
Yeah.
you know what? Like, I did, like, as I say, I'm 150, but I rolled into it a wee bit. But I think that at around about that time, I flicked the Yu-Gi-Oh pretty swift, and like it took over quite a bit for me. But I did see a bit of Gen 2 guys, like so I know, like them sort of ones, like Totodile and all them sort of early Gen 2 ones.
The Yu-Gi-Oh PlayStation game was the greatest game ever.
It was also ridiculously hard too.
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh games are actually fantastic.
It's
so
Sorry,
good to play.
What was your favorite?
But yeah, and my favorite Pokemon ever is Snorlax. I love Snorlax.
And to be fair, one that I actually love, and not really from the game series, but from the animated series, and could arguably be my favourite, is Lapras.
Lapras.
Lapras is cool. Look, get your mate of Eve.
What's he thinking on his feet?
Just a quick throw out there. We were discussing Pokemon. What do you think about Jinx having to be changed?
Jinx was changed.
Like,
it's the same with
they had to turn Jinx purple
Purple,
because it was racist.
She looked like a minstrel.
It's the racial undertones to it all,
The big,
Alright, okay, fair enough.
And that, but I obviously don't think
It's the
they
same
were born
with
for that. And
It's the same with Mr. Popo.
Mr.
Like,
Popo.
they had to change him.
I didn't say that,
Popo.
Fair enough.
That's absolutely insane.
Come
Okay, we're probably going to round this out fairly quickly, lads. There is a few other talking points here, but again, it'll be probably rounded out in about the next 5 minutes.
Okay.
I'm going to ask these lads now. This is probably one that you've had to think very hard on. I don't know, like I did in many ways, and I chopped and changed a lot. But I'm going to go around every fella here and ask them, because a Pokemon trainer at any one time is allowed to carry 6 Pokemon.
Indeed, they are.
So I'm going to ask all you guys, what's your party of 6?
I did 2.
I did 2. Okay.
I did 2. I did 1 to beat everybody at the table.
Fair enough.
And then I did my favourite. So I'll start us off.
I might do 2 too.
That's fair enough.
So I did my tactical party of 6. Is I wanted to get a nice wide variety, so I took specific Pokemon that, you know, can counter everybody else's Pokemon, right? So I've thought this through, yours. So I took Squirtle for my water type.
What?
Because, yeah.
It's the
Squirtle
Alabama.
for my water type. I took Haunter for my ghost/poison type.
Oh, yes.
What's wrong with
I like that.
Because Haunter's
Gengar?
better.
Gengar. That's the one I was going for.
I think
No.
Gengar is definitely the more
Powerful.
popular one, but I prefer Haunter.
Big fan of Haunter.
Mhm.
So Haunter, I went with Charizard from my fire, and I also got him in there because he flies.
Mm.
And I went for Kadabra for my psychic.
Nice.
Yep, like Kadabra, because Alakazam's a weirdo.
A lot of people are not going to like that.
I like his arms much better.
For my electric, and I also went flying again. I went for Zapdos.
Mm.
Yep. And
Oh,
then
legendary bird.
And then I went for
First time
Machamp as a ground and fighting type Pokemon because, you know, Machamp's pretty cool.
Quite a well-rounded team.
No, I also went for favorites. So this is this is probably my all-time favorite 6 here, right?
Okay.
So Squirtle's off the top because he's in both.
Okay.
Big fan of yeah.
Just be side note. You're never ever gonna evolve him, are you?
No.
No. Fair enough.
Or Turtle's a bitch. Squirtle. I went for Onix as well because I'm a big fan of Onix. I went
Geodude.
Arcanine because Arcanine's class.
Oh yeah.
Arcanine's a real cool one.
Arcanine.
Machop because I fucking love Machop.
You have very similar tastes.
Yeah, decent lad. Magmar, we talked about Magmar earlier.
Magmar, that
Big
is-
fan of Magmar.
That's interesting.
And then probably one of my underrated favourites is Kingler.
Again, I love Kingler.
Yeah.
Absolutely
great.
love Kingler.
Right. Well, I haven't actually made any notes or put any thought into this, so it's going straight off the cuff.
It's okay, lad. You
Crash
shoot
on.
off.
My 6 that'll beat everybody else's is going to have Mew.
Oh,
come on,
I can't take Mew.
I took Mew. We're
Mewtwo.
going to have Alakazam. We're going to have Hunter, Copy and Dave. We're going to have
No water type there, Dev.
Squirtle, Charmander, and Bulbasaur.
Okay.
So Mew,
Do you love all of them, you
Alakazam.
weirdo?
And then the 3 starters from there.
Well, what's stronger than the 3 starters?
True. Cover on your bases.
And then, if I had to do a 6 favourites, it would probably be Hitman Lee, Lapras, cool, don't you start laughing, Charmander, Squirtle,
Yes, lad.
everybody likes Squirtle,
Yeah, good shit.
Meowth.
Meow.
You
That's
would
right.
like me out too.
Meowth is hilarious.
Vesty is probably chuckling somewhere right now when he hears this. And he loves Meow.
Let me see if I can think of a good favourite 6.
Just gonna list.
We'll fire Goldeen in there just because the noise always made me laugh at the time. Goldeen. And I bust out laughing every time.
I like the most derp Pokemon ever. Like,
Oh, don't you be ever dissing Goldeen.
no,
my friend.
come on.
Right, guy, up to yourself. 6 that'll beat everybody else's.
Big fan of Metapod Gary here.
Metapod
Beat
and
that.
yep. This is kind of off the cuff as well because like
We drafted you in last minute. Vesty was meant to be here and he's useless. He's knee deep lambing Pokemons. Pokemon lambing. Aye, there we go.
What do you call the sheep Pokemon again?
There's a few now. There's Mareep. There's
Mareep.
Lulu. There's quite a few.
Mareep was the one I was thinking of.
well to start off probably just Bulbasaur. He's probably this is just a favorite 6. This is not like team comps or anything.
You
out there.
do it however you want, lad.
Yes.
There's no strict, code.
It's probably just like number 1 Bulbasaur.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is Charizard. Number 3 is probably a bit of a weird one, like Beedrill.
Beedrill, that's
Yeah.
fair enough, huh?
These are all Gen 1 Pokemon, by the way. These are not going to be like anything out of the ordinary. And then another shout out to Totodile. That's not Gen 2, so it's not entirely Gen 1.
Uh-huh.
And then what do you call the evolved form Meowth? Persian.
Persian.
Oh, don't you evolve me out. How dare you evolve
Persian's
me out?
cooler. Imagine a
By
talking
the way,
Persian.
shout out to Vulpix, who I also love and just didn't make me.
Was that 5 or
Ninetales
4?
sucks.
I think that was 5.
And then the last one's Eevee.
Lad,
Eevee.
big fan of Eevee too.
Eevee's a good shout.
More of a fan of Jolteon, but aye.
Okay. This is going to be weird because
Jingler better make your top 6.
there's just no way this is ever going to stick. But there's certain ones in here that definitely belong there. There's one that was a little bit weird because I just sort of came across him and I was like, wow, he's cool. I wish he was around when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
So my first one would be Incineroar. Nobody here probably knows who that
his
is.
popularity is.
But this is a Pokemon that's came around in the last year or so. He came out in the Sun and Moon cycle of games.
He's so popular, he became a fighter in the
He's
latest Smash game.
Actually,
And he's
the
unreal in it,
best Pokemon that's came around, I'd say, in over a decade.
Such a cool gimmick too.
That's how cool he is.
Like he's like a luchador.
I'm gonna say this. He's better than Charizard.
Jesus
He's a
Christ.
luchador Pokemon.
Well, he's a
He's a
wrestler.
wrestler
No, he's a wrestler.
Pokemon. He's
You'd
a
probably
fire.
like that, you know.
He's a fire cat. Look him up.
There also is a luchador.
Enjoy
Pokemon.
him. Incineroar is amazing. And
Fair enough.
He's just jumped up the popularity polls for all Pokemon.
Sounds like a Vince McMahon gimmick.
Oh no, trust me, this Pokemon's so cool. The next Pokemon would be Lucario.
Oh yes.
Who,
Another Smash
again,
character.
maybe you
no?
guys, I don't know if you know him,
I think you showed me him before, lad.
but he is cool.
Sounds like another luchador.
He's a fighting steel type. He is badass.
Didn't get his own movie as well.
Yeah, I think movie 8 he was featured in. My number one guy, Snorlax. He's in there.
Yeah.
He's my guy. Following him would be Noctowl, because I like Noctowl
Don't know
quite
who
a
he is.
lot. It's a flying psychic Pokemon.
Alright, okay.
It's
Is
an,
that the one with the one leg?
You used to catch it rather early, and
starts off
It was.
with one
It
leg.
started off real weak.
Yeah, starts off as a Hoothoot. And then,
Ah yes.
Oh,
that's
Oh, I know
what
who he is.
I was thinking.
Ash actually had a shiny version of the Pokemon in the anime series. So
Was
yeah,
shiny Pokemon in the anime?
Yeah.
I never knew.
his Noctowl is shiny. This was the Pokemon that I only stumbled across a couple of days ago while I was researching for this particular podcast. Because I have like this obsession with dinosaurs. It's just something
Jurassic
that,
Park.
Oh, this is the one from
Yeah,
X
it's Jurassic
Men.
Park. Yeah. I came across this sort of later gen Pokemon. It's called Tyrantrum.
I think he was introduced in X
basically
Men.
a T-Rex.
Okay.
And I've got to have a dinosaur on my Pokemon party. And the last guy is actually quite a popular guy in this podcast, Haunter.
Yes, lad.
I gotta have Haunter.
I think
Oh,
about a Hunter. I think about a Hunter.
Hunter's made 3 lists.
Yeah. So that's probably never ever gonna last. Like it's
Aye.
gonna change. I chop and change my Pokemon party all the time.
I
But
was a big fan of Scyther too, you know.
oh yeah, say
Like
Oh,
it was
Scyther was really good.
I'm gonna have to do this for
To be fair, I just
Vesty.
got a soft spot for water type. I am Misty, you know.
I used to really like the fighting types, like the Hitman Lee, Hitman Chan, Mankey. What was my
Primeape.
called? Primeape, yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
I liked.
Machamp.
Do you know who was good boy? I liked Cubone and Marowak.
Oh yeah.
Aye,
Big fan of
yeah,
Cubone and
yeah.
Marowak. Aye. They were good too.
I'm gonna have to do something here right now.
I
that's
like
probably gonna-
Cyndaquil too in the
Oh yeah,
second
Cyndaquil,
gen.
yeah.
Cyndaquil was my favourite second gen starter. Like
Mhm.
Cyndaquil was real cool. Like
Sean would agree with you there. I think
Aye.
that's his favorite too.
Fair enough.
I'm gonna have to do something here that's probably gonna embarrass me, but I promised PJ that this would happen because Vesty's not here to do it, so I'm gonna do it for you, PJ. That's my Electabuzz
Oh
impression.
yes.
Fair enough. Well, that went well, fellas.
I much prefer Goldeen.
Electabuzz is pretty good too. Boy. Electabuzz and Magmar are the same
Trio,
people.
trio.
I went well tonight, fellas. There was a few people who requested us to do something specifically on Pokemon. Obviously, it was a big part of our childhood and all that. There, we're Spotify. We're up on iHeartRadio. Spotify haven't got back to us yet.
We're still waiting on Spotify, but we'll find our podcast on iHeartRadio, on YouTube, and on Podbean. And just keep downloading, keep listening,
Yeah.
liking, commenting, subscribing, anything that you can do. Leaving a comment, hitting the like, it really helps the
Yeah.
channel.
Give us your 6, people, if you
Yeah,
want to.
definitely.
You can leave comments on the Podbean app for anybody that's using that there. Give us your 6.
I would say, just being the massive franchise that it is, this is probably not the last ever
Definitely
Pokemon
not.
Probably
episode
not,
that we'll do. We could probably do several more if
Aye, that's
people liked it.
We'll definitely we'll float into anime at some point too, because I restarted Naruto a bit there recently, just because we had literally talked about it a couple of times in this year, so I floated back up to where I was at.
I've been thinking that myself.
You know, while restarting Naruto, did you not think, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm finally gonna sit down and watch Dragon Ball Z, the greatest anime of all time, and stop in a little bitch.
All filler, no killer, but
Start Dragon Ball first.
no, see, I've watched Dragon Ball,
Oh,
I've
yeah,
watched
man.
Z, and I've watched a good portion of them, and there's just so much filler it kills me.
See,
But,
I prefer Dragon Ball, but I know you'd be more Z, like, a lot more action.
Dragon Ball ZK, it's perfect.
Aye. I need to finish Naruto first, so I picked back up where I left off at it. I think like
Do you know
Madara and stuff
what
was
I'd
back.
love Netflix to do? To add the rest of the Indigo League Pokemon season, like, because they've only got it up to like episode 52 or something, and for some reason they just thought, oh no, we'll leave it here. We'll just not let you finish the journey.
But that was good. A few people requested us to do something on Pokemon, so we decided to sit down and have a full episode. Obviously, Vesty was meant to be here, but he's currently pulling lambs out of sheep's asses.
And that's what we're saying, we do want to do an anime episode, and we know, you know, a lot of people like ourselves here would be anime fans, we watch a lot of different animes, and if there's any animes you maybe want us to talk about, like Pokemon, you know, just leave a message and let us know, and
Even if it's something that we haven't watched, we can watch
we
it.
can watch it and then discuss
get back.
it. Although
Do like a top-
we have watched quite a lot of anime between us all. I'm sure we could
Covered some
Well,
way or another.
whatever you want us to talk about. I'm sure one of us have watched it.
Yeah, sort of book club type thing.
Nah,
Yeah.
we'll probably have to do that for the Wheel of Time stuff and all coming up now too as
most
well.
likely,
Like,
yeah.
Shout out to Death Note.
Death Note's great. I haven't finished it yet, but
How have you not? It's only like 90 episodes.
it's not even. I think it's like, was it 39 or something?
Yeah, this is actually.
I don't know. I started to lose track after a certain character got axed out of it, and I was like, oh no, this isn't as fun anymore. So that sort of stopped me watching it, but I probably will eventually finish it.
Attack on Titan. Shout out.
Yeah.
but yeah, that was good tonight, lads. Gary, thanks for stepping in last
Not
minute.
about anything else.
Aye, that was good. Liverpool are playing the Champions League. I'm going to chase you all. Liverpool are going to go through.
No, that's okay. I gotta go anyway.
You have a pub quiz to go to.
Yeah.
But aye, that was good tonight, lads. Thanks very much for. Aye. But aye,
I am actually late. Yeah, I'm very late.
fair enough. Right. Thanks very much for listening, people, and cheers for everybody sitting and talking. Good luck.
We love you.
Bye.
Bye.